I every time I see someone like hate on this album, literally from like the first time I ever had any sort of actual like not resemblance, but like what's the word I'm looking for? Knowledge that this was kind of genuinely conceived or not conceived as like most people look at like this album as Travis Scott's worst out of like his like major releases: Rodeo, Birds in the Trap, Astro World, Utopia. My bad, I forget about Utopia sometimes. That sounded crazy. The way I just said that sounded crazy. I mean, sometimes I forget he has 4 albums instead of 3 because before Utopia, I was used to him having 3. I don't need to explain that. Anyway, so I actually had no idea from the first time I ever listened to this album and heard songs from it. I've always loved it. I've always thought, now, to be fair, it kind of just depends on the day if I think this is his worst album. It really does. It depends on the day. On most days, I am a part of the general consensus that this is probably his weakest body of work. That is not saying that I think it's below great. I think Astro World and I think Rodeo and I think Utopia are better. That is not to say that they are amazingly better or way better or like they are like out of 10, they're multiple points better. That's just saying I enjoy them more of the time. I think they have more replayability. I think they are just a general, I listen to them more. And I like a lot more songs off of them more than I like off of Birds in the Trap, McKnight. I still think this album is fantastic. I love this album to death. It's wonderful. And speaking of songs, I love Wonderful off of this album. I think it has a fantastic Weekend feature. And I love it. But I love the sound to it. It's a darker sound. Like, I feel like I'm in the dark shadows of a moon, and all I can see is Travis's grill shining in the dark. Like, this is nighttime music, I feel like. You listen to this music really, really late at night, and that is when you really, like, get the full effect of it. You know, it sounds... I use this term a lot, like evil music, but I never really explained it. I don't mean like evil as in like I feel like a super villain listening to it. I mean like just the energy off of it. Like it don't feel like lighthearted music is dark. Is boss theme music, you know? And I'm not saying that for my like I take that and I put it onto myself. I like hearing it come off of this rapper. Pause. But I like, it almost adds to a rapper's aura. Like the aura of this album, which, by the way, aura is a term I do not like using that much, but the aura of this album I feel like excels. It's amazing. I find it amazing. There's no skips for me, except 1 or 2. I don't, Sweet Sweet is an okay song. I don't think it's that bad. I don't think it's as bad as people say. I just think it's kind of okay. You know, it's like a 6 out of 10. It's right above mid, but like it ain't nothing crazy. And I feel like I should explain a little bit better. I know as of recently, a lot of people are like have more so came out to speak like this album is actually pretty good. Y'all just tripping. I've always been on the train that this is a good album. Always. I think a lot of people that I feel like I can understand. Whenever I know Anthony Fantano is probably like the biggest example of being someone who has said this. I've heard people say this and seen people say this before and after he said this, that a lot of people view it as just an album of rodeo throwaways, which I definitely feel like you can say, but I feel like it's a different route almost. Like it's an alternate version of rodeo. Like how Utopia, I feel like is an alternate version of Astro World. It's more dark. It's more malicious. It's more darker intent. More grittier almost. Which obviously I think Rodeo is a much better project than this. Not crazy much, but there is a margin. And I know I just said earlier that I feel like it's like not a few points. I should say that differently. In a few aspects, it's marginally better, but overall, I don't think it's a crazy amount better. Like, if I had to give it a number, I'd give Rodeo like a 9.5. I'd give this like an 8, 8.5. That's the only real difference. Or honestly, God, I'd probably give it a 9. I know that's a big difference in numbers I just said, but I would give it a 9. I love every feature too. I love every feature. I love Bryson Tiller. I love Kid Cudi's feature. I love Andre 3000's. I love, did I already say Bryson Tiller? I love his. I love his a lot actually. So I'm gonna say it twice, even if I did already say it. I love. I love Nav's feature. 21 Savage gives a good contribution. The Weeknd feature on Wonderful, fantastic. Even like the little things like Kanye's like voice on Way Back, or Black Youngst's intro on Coordinate. Coordinate. Those are fantastic. That's a fantastic little feature that makes the song a lot better. This album also has, in my opinion, his best song in Way Back. Love that song more than anything. Fantastic Travis Scott song. One of my top 10 songs of all time. Top 5, actually top 3. Fantastic song. Love to death. It's in my top 10. I thought it was in top 10. My top 5 Travis Scott songs. There we go. I knew I've talked about it before on this channel. I knew I did. By the way, that video has like 500 views. Thank you guys very much. Hopefully some of those same people are watching this video and it made it this far. But like I said, I've always been a fan of like darker, evilish sounding music. Like a Dude Got Bad Intentions, you know? And that's this whole album to me. That's this whole album. And that's why I love it so much. I feel like it resonates to me a little bit more. I like how certain parts of it sound rough around the edges, which I think certain people have tried to use against this album. But I disagree, actually, wholeheartedly. That I think that adds to it. That rough around the edges sound, it like adds, not odds, I read my note wrong. It adds to that darkish sound, like this little rough rent, like this ain't a polished song. That is one thing I love about Metro Boomin beats, like on, for example, Without Warning. They don't sound like they're 100% quality, you know? Or they don't sound like they're used in some fantastic studio, or that they were made on this fantastic beat maker. They were made like in a ghetto or something like that. Does that sound crazy? Y'all know what I mean when I say that, but I feel like I'm saying that kind of crazy. I do think it is probably his worst album so far. However, this album is amazing and much better than people want to claim it is. A lot of people be like, yeah, it's definitely his worst album. It's just good, not like compared to the rest of it. No, this album is great. I feel like people need to stop acting like it ain't. I know music is so subjective, but I've always loved this album. It adds to his aesthetic. I can't say that word right. It adds to his aesthetic. It adds to his aura. I love this album. I've always been such a big fan of it. I replay it every day. Like First Take, I love First Take. I love Coordinate. I love Beebs in the Trap. What a fantastic song. Beebs in the Trap is such a good song. Through the Late Night is a good like interpolation of the Kid Cudi song. Perfect, and also I love that song a lot more because I know that Kid Cudi is one of like Travis Scott's biggest inspirations. Actually, is his biggest inspiration when it comes to music making, and he has claimed like with no Kid Cudi, no Travis Scott. So I love seeing like them make a song like that. I don't know, it feels a lot better listening to it after learning that information. But yeah, I love this album so much.